Hi everyone, so welcome to today's video. Thanks for joining me. Today we're doing a look that I think is going to be the look for spring and summer. I've been doing this look or wearing this look for a few days now, and I'm absolutely obsessed with the way it looks. I'm going to do kind of a bronzy eye, and I'm going to pair that with a beautiful peach lip. And I'm telling you, at the end of it all, it's going to look so incredibly beautiful that I'm going to continue doing this look time after time. I love a good bronze eye. I've talked about loving bronze eyeshadow. It's one of my very favorites. It's one of the easiest colors to pull off, and that's going to be the main color we're using today for the eyes. So we're going to start with the complexion, and we're going to just get right into the complexion products. I'm going in with a little bit of the Caliray So Blown Primer, and I do a little dots, and I feel like I have probably a little too much that I squeeze out of my tube. But this is a primer that helps sort of smooth over the look of pores, and it also helps control oil. So I'm sort of thinking ahead at the warmer temperatures in the spring and summer months. We're going to be outdoors a little bit more often than we have been. So I want this makeup to be long wearing. I want it to stay in place. So I'm going to use products that are dependable and reliable, products that help with longevity and also keeping the oils under control. Not necessarily completely mattifying the skin where I don't produce oil or look dewy, but not where it gets to a very dewy, almost like it's time to blot kind of look. So just a little bit of oil control, but still keeping the skin looking natural. That's what it is, looking natural. I gotta go in with the classic Estée Lauder Double Wear. This is a very good long-wearing foundation that stays in place, doesn't transfer, it's oil-free, and I absolutely love the way this wears, and it wears so well as the day goes on. I have worn this foundation for over 10 hours, 12 hours, and it is beautiful, and it looks great start to finish. So I'm going to do a few little dots all over, and this is a very dependable foundation. Again, we want things that are going to last, so we don't have to baby the makeup and touch up and take a look at it as we're enjoying and going about our business, enjoying the day, our summertime, all of those fun things that are coming up. I don't want to sit and take time to babysit makeup. So I'm using products that I can rely on and depend on and that are going to stay put. Using my damp beauty sponge, I'm going to bounce this into the skin and push it into the skin. Next up, I'm going to do a little bit of brightening with the Caliray Hideaway in the shade called Dawn. And this is a brightening concealer. I'm going to use my damp beauty sponge to push that into the skin. I'm going to keep the brightness right in here in the inner part of the eye. And right out here where I have a little discoloration, instead of taking this all underneath the eye. I learned that the hard way the first time I used it. This is a fairly new product in my collection. And the first time I used it, I did a big old swipe like I do with my concealer. And I felt like that was just a little too much. So using the little dots, being more strategic with something like this, it's brightening, is best for me personally. I think it's just better. The concealers that I have been reaching for a lot are from Natasha, Denona, and the Makeup by Mario. I can't decide, so I'm going to use both of them and just do a little bit of each. I'm going to list and link the actual shades, but I'm going to start with the Natasha Denona right in through the inner part of my eye, and the Makeup by Mario on the outer part. I'm going to mix the two together with my sponge. I'm going to get some coverage, some brightness, and it's going to look so, so good. Then to set everything, I'm going to use the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder in Sugar Cookie. This is the fragrance-free version that I am still testing out. I bought this during the recent Sephora sale. And the ingredient list is a little different than the one with fragrance. And so far, they seem to be performing the same way. I have Pound Cake, which is a little bit more yellow, in a travel size of the original fragrance formula. This is the fragrance-free, the full size that I purchased. And I like how it's translucent. It doesn't have any color to it, so I can use it pretty much everywhere. I don't bake a whole lot with it, but I do like to use whatever's left on my sponge and just kind of push it into the T-zone. Again, because I'm going after a more long-wearing type of finish here, I think a little bit of setting powder, thin amounts of a good quality setting powder can make all the difference. So I'm just going to use whatever's left on my sponge and just push it into the concealer to set. And then I'm going to go over the areas that I would normally produce oil, so the T-zone. I'm going to use a little bit of my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finishing Powder. This is the shade 1 Fair, and I'm going to use a light amount. I've gotten back into this. I've had this for a while, but honestly, this is such a beautiful finishing powder. It's great for setting your foundation, as I'm doing here with a brush. You can use it to set your concealer. It really is a very flawless, airbrushed, almost like a filtered effect to the skin, and it's beautiful as that last step, but I'm using it today in place of like a face powder. And I'm using very minimal amounts. I'm just tapping my brush like this and just pushing it into the skin. Now time to start adding some of that bronze look to the skin. So I'm going to go in with the Softsculpt bronzer from Makeup by Mario in the light medium shade. And I'm using a BK Beauty 111 brush for this. And I love this formula. I've talked about this in my recent video as well. It's very smooth, very silky, blends so well over the skin. And it just looks so nice, and that light medium shade is perfect, and it's mimicking the way my skin would be if I got some color. Even though it's not summertime yet, we'll be there before you know it. I think this is going to be a perfect shade for me to use during the summer, but also to kind of fake it until we get there with that bronze goddess look. So part of this look is mimicking the look of a bit of a sunburn with blush, and I'm going to do that two-step process that I've been doing these last couple of days that I've been wearing the same exact look. I'm not changing anything. So I'm going to start first with the Haus Labs blush. This is the Hibiscus Haze, and this is a bit of a rosy mauve. But when you apply this, it's going to look almost like it's mimicking that kind of rosy flush to the skin. I tend to get very red when I go outside under the sun, and it happens within minutes of being outside. So this blush gives me the effect that I'm going for. So I'm going to use the IT Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe brush to apply this just as I would any blush. I'm not doing anything different with placement. I'm just choosing a shade that kind of gives me a more natural flush. So that would be the tip that I would give you if you're going to follow this and do this with your products. Pick a tone that kind of looks like your skin has a bit of a sunburn. Here's the next part of this. You're going to take that blush and you're going to go over the nose a little bit, because when you sunburn, you get sunburn over the bridge of the nose. And then I'm going to wipe off the brush and pat and blend a little bit closer towards the nose. Not too much, just a little bit. And then I'm also going to take whatever's left on my brush and I'm going to sweep it across the forehead, which seems kind of weird and bizarre putting blush across your forehead. But again, when you sunburn across the forehead as well. So just a little bit. It's not going to be where you see a stripe of blush unless you put too much on. Just wipe off your brush really well and do this at the very end after you apply the blush to your cheeks, whatever's left over the cross of the forehead. And then one final thing is to blend this in. I like to push it into the skin with my beauty sponge. We will be adding another layer of blush, but this is going to be a little bit different. This is going to pull in the peachy tones from the lips. So that's kind of what I did. And I actually did that at the very end after I finished the whole look. I took a little bit of the Pomelo Peach Blush, also by Haus Labs. This packaging is the original packaging. They've changed it since the launch to a smaller, more compact look. So same formula, same color as before, but this is a larger palette that you see here. So I'm going to take a little bit of Pomelo Peach, which is a matte classic peach shade. And I'm going to use a super fluffy, very wispy brush. This one is from Morphe and Ariel. It's an A22 that comes in a brush set. And you want something very, very light and airy. So think of something like a fan brush. That would be perfect for this if you don't have a brush like this one. Take a little bit of this and you're going to just work it into your hand. You want just a hint of peach. And you're just going to go over this whole area. Again, tapping off the excess, and you're just going to do a wash of peach. And it's going to be kind of like a watercolor, and you just want a little bit all over the face, right? Just a little bit, just like that. Whatever's left, again, across the forehead, but we're going to go mostly on the apples of the cheek and up, like that. And it looks like a lot of blush because we don't have anything on the eyes or lips, but once everything comes together, it's going to look beautiful. Trust the process. Now we have to add some glow to the skin to get that bronze goddess look. And I'm going to use my new highlighter from Makeup Forever. This is the Wherever Pearl. And these are the Artist Highlighters. I'm going to use my normal highlighting brush. And I'm going to swirl this on the apples of the cheek as well. But I'm going to start up here where I normally highlight. And then I'm going to bring it here. So I'm not going past the center of my eye. too close to this area is going to intensify the look of my pores. So I'm gonna just use the middle of my eye as a guideline to not go beyond that. So I'm gonna just do the apples of the cheek a little bit and then swirl it and bring it up towards the temple, the brow bone, bridge of the nose, the tip of the nose. A good tip for this is to use a highlighter that kind of melts into the skin. Because I am fair, something like this that's like a cool icy pink is ideal. But if you have medium skin, tan skin, or deeper skin, look for something that has a little bit more depth, a little bit more of a golden undertone. If you have really dark, deep skin, look for something with a little bit more of a coppery base to it, and it's gonna look absolutely beautiful on your skin. And then if you're fair, look for something that's more pearly, champagne, or like an icy cool pink. Lids are primed and ready to go. Before I use the eyeshadow for the day, I wanna take my bronzer brush and I'm going to pinch it and just sweep a little bit over my lids, and focusing mostly on the crease area with whatever's left. I'm not picking up any extra product. This is the step that I kind of did a little out of order. So the palette that I'm using today is the newest one from Natasha Denona. It's the Hyper Natural Face palette. This has so many products in it. It's a lot of steps of my routine in one. So I absolutely love this palette and I've used it quite a bit. But I'm going to this palette for this shade here, which is a beautiful bronze eyeshadow. And it is literally called Everyday, and it is the perfect everyday shade. So here's what it looks like in case you have not seen this palette. It's this very first shade here. And there's a look at it so you can find something in your collection that may be similar, or something from any brand that you prefer to use that looks like this. With this new formula from Natasha Denona, it's a one and done. It's meant to be used with your finger. It's going to be the easiest way to get the most impact. A brush is going to be more of a diffused look. So I'm going to use my finger to apply the Everyday all across the lid. And I'm going to start by tapping. And then I'll do that sweeping motion with my finger from inner to outer corner. Even though this formula is designed to be used with your fingers to apply, I do think that I want to blend, and using a tool for blending I think is ideal. I'm going to just pick the first clean eyeshadow brush in my collection, and I'm just going to sweep this around the edge of it. There's no product on my brush, but I just want to diffuse that so that there isn't a line of where the eyeshadow starts and finishes. Just a quick sweep of an eyeshadow brush makes all the difference. And I want to incorporate this color on the lower lash line, and I do feel like a tool is my best friend for this step. So I'm going to use the BK Beauty 204 smudge brush to use that same everyday shade on the lower lash line. For just a little bit more smokiness on the lower lashes, I'm going to use that same smudge brush, but I'm going to go into the shade called Statement, which is in the center of this palette, and it is a deep chocolate brown. And I'm going to use that right over the top of the bronze eyeshadow. And I'm going to pick up a crease brush, and I'm just going to use the edge of the bristles to blend that a little bit. You can use something smaller. This just happens to be the 212 from BK Beauty. It's the first brush that I picked up. So I'm going to use it, but a pencil brush is probably better because it's smaller. But just anything that can soften and blend that edge out a little bit. Then to incorporate the bronzer, like I said before, I kind of went a little out of order. I'm going to go into the Makeup by Mario bronzer that I use on my face with a really soft, very wispy crease brush. Again, the same concept and idea with the one that I used for the peach blush on my cheeks. Something very, very light. And again, just working that into the brush and going into the crease and then pulling it into the side, the temple area. I'm going to do the same thing with the Pomelo Peach, so the matte blush from Haus Labs, and I'm going to work that again into my hand and just lightly dust that into the crease as well, just a little bit. Eyeliner is optional for this look, but I'm going to do a little bit of eyeliner, and I'm going to choose a brown eyeliner. I feel like a dark brown really pairs beautifully with bronze. So I'm going to start by tight lining first with a brown eyeliner, and this is the Sephora collection. The shade is called Tiramisu, and it's a beautiful chocolate brown. So I'm going to tight line with this first, and then I'm going to use my NYX Epic Ink liner, which is a liquid liner in brown. I'm going to do a very thin line at the base of my lashes. Then I'm finishing the whole look off with 2 coats of the CoverGirl Cleantopia mascara. Final step for the eyes is a little bit of inner corner highlight. So I'm going to go back into the face highlighter from Makeup Forever, and I'm going to use a Refer number 3 brush. Now it's time for the star of the show, that juicy peach lip. So let's do it. I'm going to start off first with the Lawless Forget the Filler Lip Definer Pencil in Velvet Peach. So I have lined and I have filled in pretty much the entire top and bottom lip with the lip liner. This is just the perfect peach, and it literally looks like a velvety peach. So the name is spot on. The way this looks on the lips looks so blurred and that kind of peachy. She's the vibe. She's the moment. She's it. I love this color just as is, but we're gonna take it 2 steps further. Next up is a lipstick, and I have 3 different lip options that I can give you for this peachy lip look. So you don't necessarily have to have all 3 of them. You can just choose the one that you prefer the most. When I shared this look on Instagram, I used the Revlon lipstick. This is the Afterglow Pearl Finish number 801. It almost goes exact to this lip liner. The final thing to do to make the lips look fuller, juicier, and just bring in that juicy peach vibe is a little bit of gloss, and I've got to go to the Naturium. You guys know how much I love this formula. These are so good. The shade Goji gives a beautiful hint of a peachy tone to the lip. Do you see that shine? Oh my gosh. If you have not tried these, now's the time. So I'm going to swatch a few peach options for you that I have in my collection. 2 of them are really affordable from the drugstore, and one is just a little bit more kind of mid-tier range. So this is the Revlon that I'm wearing right now. This is the Afterglow. Next up is a lipstick from e.l.f. This formula is incredible. These satin lipsticks are beautiful. I have 2 shades. The one that kind of goes with the peachy vibe is the shade called Feeling Myself, and that's what this one looks like here. The next lipstick is from Laura Geller. I love the Italian marble lipsticks, and she's got one called Peach Bellini, which again is so perfect for this kind of look. And I'm going to swatch it right next to the Afterglow from Revlon. So here is the one from Laura Geller. So it's got a touch more of a rosiness to it, but it's predominantly a peach undertone. And what's beautiful about these formulas from Laura Geller is that they are swirled with a few different shades. So you can see there, and when you put this on your lips, it kind of blends all the shades together, so the swirls kind of come together and give you a really pretty shade. I have lots of these from her line. This is my favorite product from her range, and that's what Peach Bellini looks like. And then beneath that is the Velvet Peach Lip Liner from Lawless, so you can see how it goes so well with all 3 of these shades. And then beneath that is a swatch of the Goji Lip Balm from Naturium. As you can see, it has a bit of a tint to it that falls into that kind of peachy category. So here are the swatches of all the products. So you have some options if you want to recreate this look yourself. And this is the final look, you guys. What do you think? I absolutely love this look. I love how easy it is to do a beautiful bronzy look that isn't too much, that it's not barely there. It's noticeable. There's a bit of depth to the color. And I feel like because of that and the ease of use and how universally flattering this color is, from the fairest of fair to the deepest of deep, I think it's the perfect shade to use for one shadow looks, for that bronze goddess vibe that looks good on everybody. That juicy peach lip and the peach on the cheeks just kind of pull it all together. For me personally, this is the vibe for me. I absolutely love everything about it, and I hope you like it as much as I do. I've also joined the LTK family, so I'm a creator there. So I'm going to share some posts there as well periodically throughout the week. And what's great about that app, if you have it, you download it, create an account. It's all free to sign up. You can follow your favorite creators and influencers there. I have an account that I just started, and I created a few little posts, and it's going to continue to grow from here on out. But each post, you can shop the exact products that I'm using in those pictures. Everything is linked for you, so you just click on the product. It takes you directly to it. So if you wanted to purchase the product, it's there. It's an easier way to navigate the list of products that I'm using. If you want something just specific that you like in a look, a photo, or a video that I post, you can go directly to that one product by clicking the photo of the product. And of course, those are going to be affiliate links, so I want to be very transparent. If you shop through those links down in the description box or through my LTK, I do get a commission from each of those sales. And as always, if you use my links, whether it's the description box or my LTK account, I am so grateful and appreciative. It means so much to me. So thank you for using the link, supporting me and my channel. It means everything. Thanks for being here, for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And you can also follow me on Instagram. It's here on the screen. LTK is another place to find me. I hope to see you soon in my next video. Take care, you guys. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.